And good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a while since I did a complete video, but this is going to be a short one. Here we are with the Citation Longitude, because according to the analytics, everybody likes this aircraft the best so far. And for those of you out there who are patrons of Patreon that we appreciate, we'll be finishing up the Alaska multi-hop trip very shortly. Now that I have time, a little bit of time to do this. Here we are in Scottsdale, Arizona. I used to live, as a matter of fact, not too far away from here, and there in the distance, northeast, the mountain range there, just north of Scottsdale, North Phoenix, just east of North Phoenix. And ironically, there's a Piper Tomahawk, as you can see, off just part to the right of the jet, and that just so happens, ironically, is the very first aircraft I ever took flying lessons in. So that brings back a lot of memories for me in real life. But anyway, I've got everything pretty much ready to go with the Garmin G5000. Flight plan is in there. Everything is tidy up in that regard, and she is ready to take us to Las Vegas, and it should be a beautiful flight, just as dusk is settling in, and we should be getting up there under total darkness of night, and hopefully the strip, the Las Vegas Boulevard, will be lit up real nicely, and hopefully the people at Asobo have, Microsoft, that is, Microsoft and Asobo, hopefully they've done a good job at rendering Las Vegas and McCarran International Airport. So let's hop in the jet and go to Vegas. Should be a very, very short flight. Planned flight time here is about 36 minutes. Make sure the door closes. We get the little light that the door is armed. Off, rather. But just don't need the light on for the galley, but here we are. And let's hop in the driver's seat and simply go over the flight plan very, very briefly. Everything looks good. Looks very, very good. Only thing to go on the checklist is the stabilizer trim, which will be the 3.0, and the and checking the flight controls, and that's obviously after engine start, and then we'll be on our way. And while we are underway, I'll be showing you the new feature that I downloaded and how it makes life easier as a single pilot flying this aircraft with regard to the PFD, which is directly in front of us. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, like I said, everything is checked, everything is to the engine check. The checklist is to the engine start. And these going to turn our wing inspection lights just because that's something I am used to doing. And we're going to go ahead and spin up engine number 2. And remember that with the Garmin G5000, you do not have to look up here at the light panel to turn on the beacon light. The Garmin G5000 avionics suite, it does that for you automatically, just like it automatically turns on the navigation lights. Alright, so if you remember to start the engines here, by the way, the APU is already up and running. Alright, we select this to run, and the cover is off of that button, of course, as you can see. We hold this button until it turns what I call, of course I'm old-fashioned, turn the, we hold this right engine starter button until it turns what I call barber pole. In other words, it has the black and white stripes, diagonal black and white stripes. Pull it for about 1 second, let go. There we go, and we should watch a good engine start. N2 is rising. Looking at the EGT for the light off. There is the light off right there. And looking good. Looks like a good start. It is very, very warm here, to say the least, in Scottsdale. It's the meter is showing 36 degrees Celsius, 36 degrees centigrade, and yeah, that is warm. No doubt about it. All right, got the right engine up and running. There's nobody there to operate the tow, so we are, I should say, the tug. No one there to operate the tug, so we'll just taxi. We'll do a hard left, and we're using runway, as you can see on the nav display. We are utilizing runway 03 because the winds this evening in Scottsdale are 000 at 0. So that is definitely variable, not even variable, that's practically nothing. So let's get that left engine up and running here. Shut the cover off on this button. Lift the cover, and for the left start, left engine I should say, I'm sorry, left engine button. Close that so we can access the starter key. Hold for about 1 second, let go. There we go, barber pole, and we have rotation on the N2. Here comes ITT. There we go, there's a light off. N1 is rising nicely. It looks like a good start. Go and set flaps to 1. And as you'll be able to see when I do that, the takeoff speeds will show up on the speed tape on the PFD. There we go. V1, our decision speed. Just a quick recap for those of you that might not know. V1, that is your decision speed. The R, let me zoom in for you, for those of you watching on a mobile device. Hopefully everybody can hear me very well now. Some people said, yeah, I can hear you just fine. Other people, not so much, not many of them, but just a few complaints. So hopefully my voice is nice and loud, even though it is a voice that is not fun to listen to sometimes. Alright, so V1, again, that is your decision speed. Once we hit V1, we are committed to take off. Any issues mechanically, for example, or like an engine out, we take that issue into the air with us, and then we mitigate it as once we get into a safe situation with regard to our surroundings, where we can execute the proper checklist. Alright, that stands for rotate. That's the speed at which I will be pulling back on the yoke and or control column. It depends on from where you are in the world with regard to what you call this right here, the yoke. I have the captain's yoke disabled because I have a real one directly in front of me here. My own cockpit, flight deck that is. 126, that's our V2, and that is our safety speed. With this heat, 36 Celsius centigrade, depends on where you're from. I'll make sure that we'll be flying a lot faster than 126 before we issue this left turn to avoid those mountains that you just saw before boarding the aircraft. And that is our safe speed, which is why I leave 200 knots in the window above the speed tape. I leave it there coming out of Scottsdale because we need to get out of here, and I fly the departure, clear the mountains, and then I'll engage the autopilot. And then 185, that's simply our flat retractor speed. Okay, pretty straightforward. That is the barometer, if you're wondering, 29.90, 2990. That is the barometer here in Scottsdale. And partly of what is new in the avionics system that I downloaded and installed, because I had that installed, because I had the aircraft itself installed on the computer as well. It is no longer streamed to me. I downloaded it. We have a nice view of the active flight plan right off the bat. You can see departure, KSDL, Scottsdale Runway 03. On the Mesa 7 departure, RR Sierra Tango Alpha, transition, and or exit point, however you want to call it. And then we're on our way to Las Vegas. All right. On the right side of the MFD multifunction display, we've got the traffic up there. I switch it over to terrain awareness. That isn't necessary because I have it right here on the actual navigation map. But we'll be getting into that in just a little bit. All right. There's no weather. There's no rain. Believe me, it's yeah. It's that time of year when it's just miserable. If we do get rain in the valley, well, it's monsoon season. So, all right, let's do a flight control check, and then we'll be out of here. All right. Go. And if we wanted, we could check out the, I'll start at that. We'll check out the flight controls. All the way to the left, good. All the way to the right, very good. Elevators, 2 up, yep, 2 down, good. And rudder left, neutral, all the way to the right, good, neutral. And we can see flaps set to 1. You zoom in for those of you watching on a mobile device. Flaps set to 1. Brakes, 3000 psi on all 4 brakes. And hydraulic fluid is 36 degrees centigrade, which is fine. That's simply the maintenance page. Pre-flight maintenance page, everything checks out. The only thing that is set to track is the parking brake, and that's because we have it. But like I said, everything else is good to go, and we'll bring up the TOS page. Sorry, the track page. Because we are very close to 2 airports, Phoenix Sky Harbor just to the south, which is extremely busy, and Deer Valley, which is not even 10 nautical miles to the west of us. There you can see there, Kilo Delta Victor Tango K DVT. That can also be a fairly busy airport. They have a flight school there now, along with a lot of corporate aircraft there. that are based there because they want to avoid paying Scottsdale taxes, and I don't blame them. Alright, let's get the show on the road. Parking brake is gonna come off. We're gonna turn off the APU first. Parking brake off. And I do that by holding the brakes with my rudder pedals, taxi lights up and on. And turn on the flight director and the auto throttle. We will arm it. And we're ready for takeoff. Alright. Let's see if we can sit just a little higher in the seat. There we go. We can see just a little better. Alright, let's give it just a little bit of thrust. Remember that aircraft, they do not function as well in the heat, especially when it's this hot in the mid to upper 90s. You always need a little extra thrust to get the business done, and that is also applicable with regard to your climb performance. Although this jet, it's got the thrust to weight ratio is so high. It's and also the gross weight is not high. So just checking. As we do the right turn, let's take a look outside real quick. There we go. Now we can come back on the thrust, and do remember that that's simply the G5000 telling me that it just checked out the terrain avoidance system, and it checks out. And since we will be flying north of 18,000 feet, let's make sure that just double check that the transponder is set to altitude reporting as well. Even though we're not flying online on the VATSIM, we're not going up there tonight on VATSIM. Now let's just take a quick look here. Enter the map. Oh, it's part of the yeah. Just check one thing and then we'll get in the air. Okay. Anyway, auto, good. Okay, just do. Yeah, we can leave it on auto. With me, I'm old-fashioned. I want it to be reporting all of the time. Let's see here. Just making sure that this thing double checks. There we go. Alright, it's active. We'll leave it on. We'll double check about this. We'll check to make sure that it's doing the right thing once we get airborne. How about that? I always like to leave the flight plan on the left, GTC, and on the right, I simply leave it open, so in case I need to access something very quickly, it's there for me. Alright. Now, flying on VATSIM, I do have the live traffic feature disabled because it has a long way to go, so with regard to being accurate. Okay, all the lights are on that we need. This aircraft has outstanding takeoff. I'm sorry, landing lights, LEDs, they're fantastic. And if you're wondering, do I like the aircraft better now that I have downloaded it and it's no longer streamed? Yes, I do. It just works better all the way around. Alright. Looking good. Here we go. And as you can see, the auto throttle is showing it's holding takeoff thrust on the FMA that's on the PFD. Top left, we're seeing in green where it says old. Cause V1 and rotate pretty quick. There we go. Yeah, it's a little odd. I guess the climb performance just wasn't quite there on the initial rotate. Gear up. That's simply a caution regarding the parking brake. Alright. As you can see, I can't keep the nose up as high as I'd like to because the airspeed already begins to bleed off. Factory train speed, flaps up. Alright, let's make that left turn over to Zephyr, and we'll be on our way. Climbing very, very well. We are going to be slowing it to 240, because I do like to climb using the flight level change mode, which means it'll climb at whatever speed I tell it to. Instead of a vertical speed, like let's say if that would be 2,000 feet per minute, I can set it to climb at 240 knots until it reaches 28,000 feet. Alright. But for now, we're just going to continue to hand fly it up to 10,000 feet, and then we'll take a quick look outside to look at the beautiful lights of Scottsdale and the greater Phoenix Valley. Okay, there's 10. And we can actually switch over to FMS because we're above 10,000 and we don't have to worry about anything of overspeeding. We're going to go direct to Zephyr. Is activated, so it should be wanting to grab. I see what it's doing. It's pointing the nose down to grab 270 knots, and then it'll go back up. Not exactly the way it works. It actually keeps it at that attitude, and then it simply slows the rate of climb down, increasing thrust. And then it accelerates at 270. Oh, I see what happened. It didn't. It's flying the actual departure as it should. Zephyr. Let's see, Zephyr. We should have already passed Zephyr a mile ago. Alright, let's go direct Mesa now. Should begin to climb, and we're not. Alright, let's set that up. Let's go ahead and set it up for 200 200, 290 knots on the climb. It should climb out pretty good. There we go. Alright, let's just take a look at Phoenix. There's North Phoenix, there's Deer Valley off to the left. Way, way out in the distance. Can you see it? No. It's north of Deer Valley. So that would be the town of Anthem below us. Take a look outside. Alright, there's Interstate 17, I-17 below us. And 2 hours. There you go. There's a good view of Phoenix. The whole valley. Look at that. Deer Valley just underneath us there. Well, we passed it, but looks like it's underneath us. Scottsdale to the left here. And you can almost see Luke Air Force Base and Goodyear, Arizona. Just south of those mountains, right off the left hand of the side of the aircraft. That is Luke Air Force Base just to the east of that, and the lights to the south, that would be Goodyear, and way out there would be Buckeye, and if you continue going west, you'll go to the Palo Verde nuclear plant. I had the privilege of having a private tour there. Anyway, there's Phoenix Valley. It's the Camelback Mountain. Right off the tip of the left wing, that's right there. And Phoenix Sky Harbor is off just to the south of that. Okay, let's get back inside and get the lights cleaned up, as well as our environmental pressure. Standard on everything. Make sure everybody's on standard. Okay. That's been turned off. All non-essential lights. Alright. Oh, I see, there's a zephyr. We are simply going to pretend as if we were given direct MESA by ATC. We'll pretend that that is what happened, alright? So, my mistake. Alright, as soon as we get leveled off, we should be go for a little demonstration on what I had installed on this airplane. It has to do with the instrumentation, and I downloaded it via the marketplace. And then when I say download, I don't mean just download it to my account in the cloud. I downloaded it to the physical computer and then installed it. And I think it all works out very, very well. It's been told to go at the VNAV speed, which is 320 knots. It'll handle the vertical navigation as well, because we will be utilizing the full screen of the MFD for looking at the chart for our star standard terminal arrival going into Vegas. Alright, well here's what we're flying at Mach 0.8, so we're kind of getting there. very quickly. Since I know there isn't any traffic, I'm going to disregard the right-hand side for the moment. And we're going to pull up. Well, you know what? I'll just show you what I was going to show you. On the left, GTC. I say, what is the GTC for those of you that don't know? Is this little gizmo right here. Kind of looks like a big smartphone. Yeah, this is where I like to control radios with COM, and as well as communication COM 1 and 2. You may say, well, why did you mention COM 2? Well, if you're shooting an approach, that is I haven't done one in a while, but an ILS-PRM. Where do they do this types of approaches? They do them in Atlanta, DFW, airports like that. That's where the runways are very, very close together in parallel, and you're having to listen to two frequencies. You're listening to power on one frequency, and you're listening to the traffic landing and departing to the typically arriving. Traffic arriving right off your wingtip alongside you, so you can hear what they're saying as well. And those are interesting to do. Anyway, split screen, and there, now look at it. Now we're talking. I can see everything I need to see with regard to my PFD. And on the right, I can see the flight map. And I don't need to constantly look over here, back here. Nope, I've got everything I need right here, which is fantastic. And the reason that's really, really nice to have is because we're going to be utilizing the full screen of the MFD itself for the map. So I should say the approach plate. Just saying the word approach plate, that gave away my age right there. Anyway, let's go ahead and pull that up. Let's go into one thing first. We're going to go ahead and grab the weather in Vegas. So let's go down to that. Up. There's another way to do it. Okay, one little thing here, and that where I bring up the weather real quick, because we're going to be hitting something before we know it. Let me just do that real fast here. Charts, Las Vegas, we are shooting that's the one nice thing about the way that this is laid out on the PFD here. We're shooting the orchestra for arrival. So we go to arrivals. So we pull up the orchestra report. And there it is. Full screen, please. Thank you very much. And now we can see what we gotta do. And we're gonna go ahead and zoom in a little bit anyway, because not that much. This way, what we'll be able to do is read this directly. Coming in. So I'll bring up the flight plan. And simply make sure that we've got everything in place. Let's look at petty. We we need to cross it at somewhere between 16 and 14,000. Is that right? And then Jade after that. So that's 13,000. Jade, yes. And after that, Sheen. There it is. Sheen is. Actually, it should be LEEEW. Alright, 13, leave, 14, there we go. 16,000, 14, 13, 12, 11. And the next hard one, I call it like a hard point Vandal. Vandal, we gotta be at. Okay. Now the reason why this looks different for us is because Vandal at 9,000, let me zoom in. Let me move the map just a little bit here. There you go, we got 9,000. There we have it. The reason why that is the way it is, and it isn't showing you the typical Sheen, a Jade, to Lee with an orchestra growth. No, the reason why it doesn't show that is because we're going to be using runway 01 left for our arrival. And the reason that is because hopefully the weather in Vegas is still such that we can do that arrival. The reason? Because I want to see what Vegas looks like at night on Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. How about you? I know I do. That's why we're doing it at this time of day that we're doing it. And let's zoom our little map out just a wee bit. There we go. See Vegas way out there in the distance. So let's go into our performance here. Landing data. Landing configuration. Let's go through weather real quick. Load METAR. Show the METAR. Alright, let's read it. This is the fun part. Let's see here. 100, 200 at 7. Okay, we can deal with that. That just means we'll have a slight tailwind going in on 01. Good deal. 10 statute miles visibility. Few clouds at 16,000. Temperature 31 Celsius. Okay, so it's not as bad as it was back in Scottsdale. 31 centigrade, dew point -2, altimeter 2989, so that's just one little click down from where it was in Scottsdale. So 2989 is standing by. Standby box there for both. And no remarks, basically. Alright, again, load that METAR data. We're going to be descending. Alright, we need to be at least 9,000 feet across Vandal. 9,000 feet, that is. So we're going to go. Going to set the autopilot 9,000 feet. Alright. And it should automatically begin to descend. I can see the vertical profile coming down. See that little, look just to the right of the flight director. To the right of the green circle, which is your FPV flight profile vector. See a little purple carrot dropping, well not dropping, coming down. That's our vertical path, and you can see us beginning to descend, and the auto throttle, bringing those engines back very nicely. Look at that, putting those throttles back. I do like physical auto throttles better than the ones that just remain in a setting in a certain detent. No offense to all my Airbus friends out there that are, I should say Airbus driver friends out there. But I do like, I like seeing that those throttles move. I'm from the very, very old school of it's either going or I'm not going. I'm just kidding. That's all I'm saying. He's a friend of mine who is a captain at JetBlue. Sorry, Kurt. Anyway, alright. Weather, we know what it is. Runway 01 left. So we want landing configuration. Flaps full. You bet. Anti-ice off. Thrust reverse. So landing patch one off. Throttle will be on actually, but that's for landing. What it does is, for those of you that have never seen this aircraft function before, maybe, we'll leave it engaged. As I fly the landing manually, the throttles will come back to idle automatically at about 50 feet 50 feet AGL above ground level. So at any rate, landing data for runway 01 left, 9,766 feet long. Available is 9,165. We are required to have a runway of 3,538 feet. So we are more than within the envelope. Tailwind of 7 knots. There's a little bit of a right crosswind of 1. Like I said, a quartering tailwind. No big deal. And landing weight's going to be somewhere about approximately 29,700 pounds. Alright, accept the landing speeds, and that goes into the computer on the PFD. And now there they are. 128, that'll be what the auto throttle will be aiming for, in a way, as we go, well, by that time, as we fly the glide slope into runway 01 left. Alright, we got that all figured out up here on the map. And again, this map really doesn't show our specific arrival because it is unique in that we don't go all the way around and then come in from the north or coming in from the south. Alright. We're going to look at the approach now for ILS. There it is right there. Stop. 01 left. There it is. We can zoom in just a wee bit. Now with the new Garmin Pro, for those of you that have not seen it, there is a video online. If you go to Stevo, I'm trying to think of his page, his YouTube channel, that is, I believe it's Stevo1 Canevo, something like that. And he flew a, I believe a Pilatus BC-24. And I think it was a Pilatus. I could be wrong. But anyway, it has the Garmin Pro, and all screens are touchscreen. So let's zoom in on this by the old-fashioned way. Here we go. Alright. This is the entry point. Wapna. CDAX. Okay. That's let's go over here. Minimums are minimums here for us. This evening, the minimums are going to be. Zoom out just a little bit. There we go. Alright, minimums for this one. Let's see, touchdown zone is 2,176 above sea level. 2,460 cap 1. We'll take that. 2,460 ASL. So, and our minimums are making our barometer, and they're going to be what again? 2,460. Yes, 2,460. Oh, we need to set the altimeter to 2989. Make sure we've got get back to our minimums here. It's holding us at 16,000 feet because that is what the arrival calls for. And then we'll begin our descent down to 14,000 feet once we hit our next approach fix. And we're going down very, very nicely, following the arrival as published. And as you can see, Las Vegas is getting very, very bright very quickly. That small mountain range kind of looks like the hills to the right. Just on the other side of that is Nellis Air Force Base. Anyway, back to our minimums. 2,460. Over here. 2,460. Enter. And we got our minimums all set. Speed bugs, we already know what that is. Approach reference, got it. And we are looking good. Looking very good, as a matter of fact. Alright, up here at 16,000 feet, if you look at the top of the map, you'll see a little arrow, and it says 34 knots. That is the that's what the current winds are doing right now. So we've got a bit of a quartering headwind that's hitting the left side of the nose and the left, kind of the leading edge of the left wing. But anyway, you can see where it's hitting us at, and in other words, the angle at which that wind is, the wind's aloft here hitting us, and the velocity of that wind is 36 knots. Okay. Again, I like the layout. Yeah, that's fine. That's that little ding dong that you just heard. That simply means right here, top descent within less than a minute. Here comes the little purple. I'm sorry, magenta. Gotta be proper these days. The magenta carrot just to the left of the altimeter. If you look at the altimeter tape, just to the left, you'll see this little magenta carrot coming down. And that's where we're going to begin descending. You look at the navigation map, just in front of us here, it says TOD, top of descent. And there we go. And here come the engines. Engines should begin to come back. Yep, there we go. And again, we don't need to look at any of that. We can very quickly switch between one and the other. Alright. you look, pardon me, if you look at the map, you can see a little magenta airplane coming in. It's on the right hand side. It's on the far, almost not well, not the top right corner of the map, but on the right side of the map, heading to the left. That little airplane, that is us. And as you can see, we're heading forward. Let's see, heading forward. So the fix that we have to go through here. Jade or Sheen. Yep, right there. And we go down one more, you'll see better bugs and vandal. Yes, we do. Okay. Alright. We've got that going for us. So, if you're flying single pilot, this little download that you can get from Marketplace is fantastic because it gives you everything you need with regard to flying the aircraft and navigating the aircraft. Everything fits into what would normally be this. Well, I don't need to look at all of that. I just need some of that space to be the PFD, and the other part of it to be my navigation, the actual map. Alright, here comes the big turn to the left. And Vegas is alright, well, we should have popped our head outside. We would have seen, well, we wouldn't have seen, but we could have been close to being able to have seen the Hoover Dam. Alright, up at its end within another minute, and we're gonna need to go below that. We need to go below that. 9,000, then after that, it'll be in our hands after. It'll be a the way this is all laid out. Let's double check that we are shooting the ILS approach. Oh, that's interesting. It didn't. I thought that the ILS was activated. I didn't sync this up. I always sync it up, just like when I'm flying an airliner, which as you can tell, I'm more of an airline flying guy than I am a corporate jet guy, but that's alright. It keeps me on my toes. Flying airliners me, it's just easier. Alright, let's load and activate this sucker right now. Load it here. And there is the, if you look on the map, let me zoom in here for you. Alright, if you look to the very right, see where it says, you can see, well, go back to the middle, sheen, and then needle, it just turned magenta, that's where we're going to next. After needle is camp. After camp is bugs, after bugs is vandal. What we want to do, what we're going to do is, we're going to come in, we're going to go direct to camp because the runway, let's zoom out for you just a little bit, because the runway, oops, I forgot, you gotta go the opposite, you gotta go clockwise and zoom out. What we want to do is, believe me, when you're in the real thing, this is a whole lot better, a lot easier. And yes, I will be utilizing my not track IR, got it right in front of me, Toby Eye Tracker 5. I will be using it, but it still just doesn't work good with 2024. Alright, coming in to needle, after needle, we got camp. That's why we want this to be full screen. Approaching. Yeah, alright. Nearing 10,000, so we're going to go ahead and turn on all the lights we need. Lane lights. And our recognition lights are on, wing inspection lights are on as well. That way everybody and their cousin can see us. As you can see, we're in this turn. We're gonna need to go all the way down to see Codno is at 6,300. So we need to the current floor is 10,000 feet on the arrival here. Now back to this big white line that is painted for us. What that did, that gives me a good reference point as to where the actual approach corridor is for the ILS for runway 01 left. Alright, so now that we're being oriented more and more to the north instead of the southwest, we can zoom in just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and activate vectors final. Not quite yet, because the way this is designed, if you have everything programmed correctly, as I have, if you look at the magenta aircraft here on the map, you can see how we're coming into the corridor for 01 left. As you can see, we're not picking up the ILS quite yet, which is fine because it's roughly 28 miles out. Five seconds, another should turn to the right. And the reason I'm showing you this as detailed as I can. Just so you can see it. Otherwise, I would just be leaving it as it is, and then we would be going through the mandatory checklists. Because we do everything by the book, checklists and all. But this is more of a show, and this flight is more of a show and tell, and that's why you don't see me running through the physical checklist itself. But if you've seen my videos in the past, you know that checklist, that is what we do here at Fly Adventures. Alright. Let's go ahead and activate it. What this does, as you can see, the navigation source on the compass here on the PFD is no longer FMS in magenta. It's now green, and it says localizer 1, LOC1, which is localizer, on nav 1 right there. It says bearing 1. That's moving in now, so we're going to go and turn on the approach system on the autopilot, and we're intercepting the localizer as we speak. We're going to be spinning down our speed manually, so we need to come down to 180 on the speed. In fact, 170 is preferable. We're picking up the glide slope as well. So flaps 1, please. That gives us a little bit of drag, not as much as I would like. See, I told you. Here comes Vegas, rolling out right on where we need to. Runway 01. Let's go ahead and, I thought about utilizing the speed brakes. Why not? Let's see if that gets us down to 170 nice. Expeditiously it does. We will remove that. Flaps of 1 is sufficient for the moment. Alright. The only thing that I do wish that they would do is give us a nice HUD for this aircraft. It doesn't work, unfortunately, but if it did, it would be really, really nice. Really, really nice. Alright, let's keep an eye out the windscreen here. Let's see if let's see how we enjoy the strip. All the lights are on Las Vegas Boulevard and outside of that area. Slow it down to 131. That's our approach speed. It's actually going to be 127 eventually. We're going to set it to 150 flaps. We're going to do landing gear down here in just a moment. That'll begin to really put the brakes on the speed, so to speak. Onto our right, on the other side of the mountain range, that's where Nellis Air Force Base is. Yeah, we're just fine. You can be quiet now. Thank you. Alright. Gear down, please. Sure the parking brake turned on. Yep. Gotta love it. one feature I really do not like. Okay, flaps. Let's go ahead and set that to 130 on the speed. That's what we need to do. Actually, we need to put it out to 136-ish. Okay, flaps 2. Full flaps. Thank you. And we're gonna be landing it's probably gonna struggle just a wee bit because it doesn't know how to handle it. A quartering tailwind, even though 6 knots is nothing. Because always remember, if you're below 10 knots, that is technically known as wind turbine. The Luxor with the big light going straight up into outer space. That's pretty cool. Alright, it's beginning to push us around all over. I don't like that. So we're gonna disengage the autopilot. And we're gonna let it fly the off throttle. Why in the world it brought us off? Why it did that, I have no idea. It's not supposed to do that. It's bringing us in. Yeah, it's bringing us in right down the middle of the taxiway instead of the runway. That's not quite right. And all of a sudden, it's acting like the wind is all over the place, which is a little bizarre. Minimum's landing. Boy, acting like an F-14. Doing a lot here. We want to land long anyway because the FBO is at the other end. FBO's. Here we go. Come on. FBO's on the other end of the runway here. Okay, nice smooth landing on that one. Reverse here. There we go. There we go. Welcome to Vegas here. Big dome, wow. Let's make that thing shut up. There we go. Now I can actually think. Boy, look at that. That is impressive. I'm trying to think of the name of that massive dome-like structure with a smiley face on it. Yeah, the FBO, like I said, the FBO is just right over there. Well, look at the Luxor. Look at that. Mandalay Bay, there's the MGM Grand. New York, New York. Wow. That is pretty cool. I gotta admit, that is pretty slick. They did a very good job in rendering Vegas. That is really cool. The big Ferris wheel, and wow, look at that. See, my friends over at Sands Aviation, Doug Wilkie, they're located at their own newer hangar south of where we're parking. We're parking over here. We should realize that the signature FBO which reminds me we need to turn on the APU. Yeah, they do an amazing job in rendering Vegas. Wow. Alright, APU comes on. Let's deal with the lights right now. Landing lights off. Cog line off. Wing. Those are fine. Alright, let's see here. Where are we going to park? Don't want to run into another static. Perfect then. Alright. Couple of ATRs. I don't know what they're doing over here at Signature. Cessna 421. Okay, where can we park here? Looks like no more room at the end, so to speak. Alright, let's look. Let's see, one space. Well, this helps me find the parking space, and it gives all of you a nice view of Las Vegas from in 2024. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Alright. Maybe those ATRs work for Janet Airlines. Just kidding. Alright. Let's see if we can park over here. Looks like that's where the tug is. Thanks for that citation. There's citation 10 up there. Let's park it right over here. In between two. And out there. Alright, let's get everything back to normal with regard to what we need to look at. Bring up a checklist, which is going to be the shutdown checklist. Even though I know what to do by memory, we'll go through the checklist real quick. Let's go bring lights up here in the house just a bit. Taxi lights, those can go off for the time being. And the wing inspection lights, they go off as well. We'll leave the tail floodlights on. Alright, we got throttles, or idle, yep. And we got, alright, park and brake, handle is up, and park and brake is indicating on. Engine eyes, we don't have any. And here goes the, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Boy, that's annoying, huh? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Seriously? Seriously? I turned it off. Hang on just a second here. That's... Yeah, we know that. It doesn't want to shut up. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that nice? Yeah, we know that. And we're back to that again. Isn't that nice? And everything else is off. Let's do this. Let's bring up the master disconnect. Wow, it is really stuck for some reason. Not just, huh. Need to go to run. Didn't think so. Alright. That's annoying. I mean, it should go off. My goodness. Alright, well everybody, I apologize for that greatly. I really do. Let's just go through the checklist real quick. Do we add ground power? It is, and it's on. Alright. Tail flaps are off. Emergency lights off. Okay. Engine, those are off. Those are on. Seat belts, emergency lights, standby. APU goes off. Exterior lights. Batteries are off. And let's see if we can get out of the aircraft. Maybe that'll make, hopefully it'll be quiet by that point. Let's see if it gets quiet once we tell it to shut up. I mean, hopefully we can get out of here and it gets quiet. Thank goodness. Wow. That I don't know what to say. Sorry about that. I should disengage auto throttle before landing, but it is designed to auto idle upon landing, which is why you leave it on, which is why that one checklist doesn't make any sense. Anyway, here we are in a Citation Longitude in Las Vegas, here at the Signature FBO, and hope you enjoyed the quick flight up here. Beautiful departure out of Scottsdale, Greater Phoenix Valley in the evening, and let's see, 8:05 p.m. Las Vegas time, Pacific time, but 8:05 local here in Vegas. So you have time to go out there and have a little bit of fun before turning in. So, but if you're like me, you don't gamble. So anyway, just looking at the airport here in Vegas, they did a good job. Oh, there's the stratosphere in the distance. Let's see, where is it? I wonder if they have the Motel 6. Hang on just a second. I gotta see this for a second. There's a Motel 6 on Koval Lane when you're driving into the airport, the northwest access. There's a Motel 6. At least there used to be a Motel 6. I haven't driven around Vegas in a rental car in at least 10 years, but there it is. I'll be darned. There it is, Motel 6. I guess it's still there. I'll be darned. Look at that. That's hilarious. Alright. Well, we are basically at the, look at that. That's hilarious. There's Motel 6. I'll be darned. I'll be darned. Alright. Well, let's walk on back to the jet. And, anyway, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the flight. And, I had fun getting it up here. I know it's a very, very short flight. Had I gone through the checklist, which as you know, I usually do, I always do, I would not have been able to have explained the new system that I have on board, or would I have had a chance to show you any outside video of Phoenix or anything really. I mean, with that kind of flight in this kind of aircraft that gets you from A to B very quickly, you gotta choose whether or not you're gonna do the checklist and do a 100% realistic, as best you can, realistic replica of the arrival of the entire flight, or do more of a check this out kind of a thing. So again, hope you enjoyed the flight. Hope you got something out of it. Hope you enjoyed it again. And again, I think Microsoft, with their technology with Bing, they did a pretty impressive job with Las Vegas. I had to fly a drone through Vegas in time and check out some of the specifics, see what's changed and see what's accurate. So, all that being said, here we are. And again, thank you again for watching. If you liked what you saw, please smash that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button. We will be coming out with more and more videos like this, and some more shorts very, very soon. And as always, fly safe. Frequency change approved. See ya.